Kawaki more of a bum than Code. Code tanked Boruto attack and nothing bad happened. I wouldn't say nothing bad happened, but
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
yeah.
Code was defeated by it.
Okay, this is the one I want to read. Code is too much of a bum for me to even care about him. Annoyed face emoji. That's coming from Kaminara. So I don't want to clown on or hate Kaminara. So I have a genuine question for Kaminara. And this applies to everyone in the audience. And this isn't sarcastic, even though it sounds sarcastic. It's a genuine question. So, how much of a character's good writing do you put on, in a shonen, how strong they are? Kamui, that question isn't necessarily for you, because I already know your answer is not a lot, but... Because, like, to Kaminara, he's implying, based on this, that he doesn't like Code as a character because he has lost a couple of fights. So he thinks that Code has had
against the two strongest people
writing.
in the verse that we know of so far.
Yeah. So Code's character has had bad writing because he's taken L's. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here, Kaminara. And if you can give an elaboration as to how you came to this conclusion, and or why, and or if you hold other characters to the same standard, or what other standards you have that make a good or bad character. You can specify it to shonen, that's fine. I'm just genuinely curious, and that question applies to anyone in chat who agrees with Kaminara or thinks Code is a bad character. Not liking Code is a different thing. Yeah, same with Kawaki. Not liking these characters is different from thinking they're bad characters. That's an objective thing. They're bad writing versus just not liking them. For example, I think Suigetsu is one of my favorite characters from Naruto Shippuden. I'm not gonna grandstand Suigetsu has good writing.
He doesn't have writing.
Exactly. I don't want to say it's bad writing per se, but like, yeah, I mean, you could argue it because he doesn't.
He's just a personality. He's nothing more.
Yeah,
he doesn't have like a character.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's just a goofy guy. It really is.
Yeah. Because like, there's characters who have both. For example, I think nobody likes Mei, and she has bad writing. On the flip side, everyone loves Kimimaro, and he's written perfectly. So.
Exactly. He has right. He's not there long, but he's 10 out of 200 out of 10 while he's there.
Yeah. Code seems to be one of these characters that people don't like, despite having good writing, which is fine. It's just like 4 different quadrants. I'm not saying one of the quadrants is like where people should be. It's just where people are. Like, there's nothing good or bad or right or wrong about the quadrants. It's just where people are. Like, everyone would prefer every character to be liked and have good writing. That's just not possible.
Yeah. And I do think with Code, part of its expectations just being different from what we're getting, like, from my perspective, Code's role is not the same as it was in the Code arc. I don't know what his role will be moving forwards very much. But I think his role in the Code arc was a lot more of the antagonist, the villain, the guy who is changing Kawaki. Whereas now, I think it's more about Code himself. Like, Code is being changed by Damon, then Boruto, and so on. And we're going to see where that takes him. He might go back to the guy changing Kawaki in the future. We don't know. But I think a lot of people are expecting Code to be the changer when he's the one being changed right now. Contrasting from the first half of the Code arc, if that makes sense. And I think that's part of the problem, because yes, he is a villain. People who are a villain don't constantly have to be the big bad dude, putting the work on everyone at all times. They are allowed to grow too. They're allowed to be beaten up, to trip over their freaking heels and get back up and do something later on. Sasuke is a good example. I was just asked what is changing the whole series. But that doesn't mean that they can't do things later on. I'm trying to think of another example of a character kind of like who has a similar thing as Code, but Kabuto doesn't really get beaten. He's kind of just like, he just doesn't do anything at early Shippuden really, but...
Okay. So I bring this up because of Himawari's elaboration. To be fair, this is Himawari's elaboration on Karma Nara's stance, so this isn't Karma Nara's elaboration of what he thinks. So Himawari might not be on the same wavelength as Karma Nara, or there might be a misunderstanding or flaw or something, miscommunication here. But I'm just going to assume they're on the same page here. So I'm going to assume this applies to what Karma Nara means when he says Code is too much of a bum for me to even care about him.
He cares even less about Kawaki than the Code he already doesn't care about.
Yeah, so Kawaki's more of a bum. Why? What does bum mean in the context of Karma Nara here? Apparently, Code tanked Boruto's attack and nothing bad happened. So it has to do with how bad things happen when you tank attacks is the amount of bumness characters are. So how much...
Well, actually, I think he might be disagreeing based off this, because he says Code's too much of a bum, and Himari's saying Kawaki's more of a bum than Code. Code at least, I'm filling this in,
okay,
but Code at least was able to tank Boruto's attack and have nothing happen to him, which I don't agree with, but
that's fine.
I think that's in, yeah.
So we don't know his stance on Code, Himari's, but we know that he views well, based on this, it doesn't seem like you could argue it either way, but either way, he definitely doesn't like Kawaki, and he likes Kawaki
Yeah, I don't
less.
think he likes Code that much. I think he's saying that, like, Kawaki's just worse than Code. Not that Code's great.
Well, okay, this is funny. I'm going to bring the chart back up for this. There's two different ways to look at this, and both of these apply. First of all, he dislikes Kawaki, so we'll put him here. Second of all, he likes Kawaki less than he likes Code. So Code can be anywhere here. Both, or either in the dislike
it's
or
also,
like. He could be
you're
either
gonna love
place.
this option, actually. It's possible that he likes bums, and so he actually likes Kawaki more than Code because Kawaki's more of a bum than Code.
But it's possible.
It is possible.
Based on my interpretation is the only way we know he could dislike Code, because if he didn't include that and he only said he likes Code more than Kawaki based on implication, you could say that he likes Kawaki, but then Code he would just like even more. So this would be possible, but that's not necessarily the case. It could be this, or it could be this. Anyways, stupid. Okay, but based on this, it's the level of bad things happening based on the amount of attack they can tank is what leads them to being able to care about characters. Fundamentally, I disagree. I think this is why you care and don't care about characters.
Well, let's go over some of these. Code is definitely obsessed. We can at least say that much.
Yeah. Some of these are, again, like skewing the lines.
Yeah.
In danger is up to your interpretation if you think the Shinjuu hate him. Unfair injury is up to interpretation if you think the scar on his head counts, or if he was planning allowing himself to get kidnapped in the first place, regardless of if he came to love Jigen or whatever. You could argue that. Funny, again, that's up to interpretation. I think Code's kind of funny.
I think Code, especially early on, was in the anime, was portrayed as funny, though. I think people would agree with funny, obsessed, for sure. Hardworking is a gray area, because I think he's hardworking in some aspects, but also clearly not in other aspects, so it's like...
Yeah. Definitely no Rock Lee in that regard. Courage? That's weird, because in the real world you would say yes, but the point of the ninja world is that it's the ninja world, which is different from the real world. This is why someone like Hotboy Spicy is saying the Six's video of Minato is a psychopath is dumb, because based on the logic, everyone in Naruto's a psychopath, because they operate with a different society than we do. So they're all a psychopath by our definition, but none of them are in the Naruto universe, which is the point. It's the same with, like, disrespect. I don't think Boruto stepping on Kawaki's face counts as disrespectful to Code, even if it would to Western audiences. In terms of skill, I think he's skilled with the Karma
Again,
seal.
He's skilled.
Or the claw marks, like his claws in general. But like, and again, going back to the shinobi world, I don't think he's very skilled. Because like they have a higher skill gap than we do in general. Their 4-year-olds are perfectly throwing kunai. No 4-year-olds in our universe can do that. Doesn't matter how hard
it's difficult because it's like Code is skilled in the thing he does, but his whole thing is he's reliant on this external source, the ninja tech and the claw marks and the karma seal. But he's good at using that stuff that he was given. So it's like, well, actually, you know what? No, he's not skilled. The way he's been using the claw marks lately, never mind. He's just not skilled. I changed my mind.
Actually,
get rid of that.
I have a very funny answer for you. Okay, I have a hilarious answer for you. Going back to the themes, it's like overwhelming power versus ninja tactics is one of the like themes of Boruto, basically. Well, really the themes of any story to some degree, but like especially Boruto. I've said this a lot. I don't want to elaborate again on this. But okay, with that in mind, Code is skilled at being powerful, but he's not skilled at being skilled.
So stupid.
Thematically wise, it makes sense.
I mean, he was skilled before he was overwhelmingly powerful. Really hammering the themes there.
I mean, he has to have skill to some degree to use his overwhelming power.
Is he even using it, though? What's funny, though, is a heroine in danger catches our sympathy. I mean, Code was in danger when he fought Boruto and David.
Yeah, that unironically, that right there almost entirely negates the Code is a bum, so I don't like him argument. That's the point. Code's the bum, so you should like him.
Now, that being said, it's a little bit tricky because I didn't like Code because he got beat up by David. I don't know how this applies to those situations. I wasn't like, wow, I love Code. He gets beat up by David. Well, I think there's context behind that one.
Yeah, well, I think that's
just to make it funny.
That's the funny reason that we're using this in the first place, because we know it doesn't apply. He's not Princess Daisy getting captured by Bowser here. No, it's like completely different. Why it's funny.
But we're gonna count it. Now, loved by others. Would you say Code was loved by Ishiki?
That's what I was thinking. That's like one of the first things I wanted to say, because I've been going back and forth on that in my head this entire conversation.
Yeah, Bug really liked Code. I mean, he did hang out with him for like 3 years. He hung out with him until he died, bro.
I think if we're going based on the themes, yes, but he loves them incorrectly. Because I think for the story, Ishiki has to love Kawaki, but he's loving him differently from how Naruto loves him.
Yeah.
So I think if you apply that to Code, he should love him for the same reason or the same way, just not as much. But it should just apply to him based on why he loves Kawaki.
But because it's not like actual love, I don't think we can actually count this one being truthful. But playing nice is a funny one. Code was playing nice to Ishiki.
What I was going to say.
There's no argument against that. There is at least one character. Code is just objectively playing nice to Jigen.
I love that. It's so funny. I don't know. He did try to attack him in one of his first scenes in the anime.
It was out of love. It was out of love.
Sure.
And also, Code was very hardworking for Jigen.
I mean, the reason he attacked the village is because he was sick of not being hardworking. In fact, you could argue...
It was unfair that Jigen beat him up.
You could argue Boruto was the one not being hardworking, which is why Code had to go to the village.